Woo! Woo!
Keanu.
What's going on, Matthew?
Robert, good morning.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. No complaints.
Hold on a second. There we go. There it is. Let me retweet that shit. Retweet. Matt, what do we got? Hump Day?
Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day.
Not as we learned yesterday, not so much of a happy Hump Day for the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, however.
No, nobody's humping there. That's for sure. I was growing up, the local lake, the chain of lakes in Lake County. There was an old guy that had a killer big old Chris craft, and the name of his boat was Humpin' to Please.
Oh my gosh. Was it a wood Chris Craft, a real sweet looking one too?
No, those are ridiculous, dude. And I've seen some. My sister's got a place up near Lake Sunapee in New Hampshire. And some of the boats are unbelievable. Ridiculously fantastic. I mean, they got like these 30-footer, but it's like a 2-seater. It's like right.
It's you know what it is. It's like the S63 Mercedes AMGs. It's like this huge. It's basically the S55, but they make it a coupe. So the back, there is no back seat. It's just for you and your honey.
All right, Matt. What's going on with aliens and Trump? I've been seeing this in social media. Here's a T-shirt for y'all. You can go to redbubble.com and get your real aliens for Trump. Make Earth great again.
T-shirt. Yeah, no, I thought I heard something that they've been talking. Someone somewhere on the underside of things that somebody within government has been chatting it up with aliens for the past 10 years. So.
Well,
maybe that's what's going on here.
Aliens. I knew this about aliens. Sometimes they use our letters backwards.
Maybe to them this is their version of a sitcom. What is happening?
Humanity, right?
Yes.
Humanity is a sitcom.
That's correct.
Anyway, redbubble.com, search for Manja TV, real aliens for Trump, make Earth great again t-shirt available.
So that's mega, MEGA, make Earth great again. Mega.
Yeah, mega, make Earth great again. It's all the rage in the galaxy, Matt. It's all the rage. All right. To some somewhat serious conversation.
Yes.
I know a couple weeks ago I brought this up, just a screen capture of tweets talking crypto, especially Bitcoin. And another one I saw yesterday, just a plethora of people exiting the market, right? Lots of liquidations of longs. And so I take notice of that, right? Whoa, where'd I go? You notice me disappear. I got to tell you, I can't wait till this show has got some production quality. Another thing I wanted to bring up, all right, is this tweet that I saw. Institutional interest ramping up. Our latest exchange review shows that monthly Bitcoin futures, back to the futures, Matt, increases 40%, right? Since October, 214,000 contracts traded. Now, I want to just make this clear to everybody, because if you don't know what a futures contract is supposed to do, by nature, it's supposed to just transfer risk. Also, by nature, there's a long and there's a short. There's a don't bet available in the futures market. That's not necessarily true in a stock market or holding Bitcoin. You own the stock. There doesn't have to be a short position against it. You just own it. Everybody could just own the stock. Nobody could be shorted. Everybody could just own Bitcoin. Nobody could be shorted. But futures, on the other hand, are the most efficient don't bet available. So this, I love a tweet like this, because it's like the nuance is like institutionals are coming in and this thing's going to go to the moon because its volume's gone up by 40%. Wait a second. That's not necessarily true. In fact, that 40% might be a 40% fuck you. This thing's not going any higher. The The futures are the don't bet. And I'll tell you, go back and look at my history, because I said in 2017 on the run up, when the futures contract is launched and there is a legitimate don't bet that big players can take, pay attention to it, right? Be aware of the fact that the don't can be played. Guess what? The high in 17, 18 was the day the futures opened at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange.
Yeah, it was. I recall it. I recall it so clearly that was the top. And I remember saying the same thing, that now that the CME has futures, the top was in, and it was. Since you brought up the future, we haven't. Let me bring up the chart here so you can see this with fresh and clean eyes. And this is the front month, and it's just the continuous contract. It peaked at 20,410 here, with obviously this on December 1st. And we're sitting right here, and actually, this is in market profile land, kind of a topping pattern beginning to evolve, right? We're putting in kind of this P, so heavy on the top, unless we can get to new highs, heavy on the top, and very likely that this thing, especially with the breakdown again yesterday, right? We went to went down to test this level right here at 18,000 again. And why did it stop? Because there's interested parties, both buyers and sellers at that, and it had its bounce. And we bounced last night up to 18.6, and we're rolling back over again, Bobby. We will test that 18,000. I've been talking about it. If we break through that, you got a lot of holes down here to the 15s. And I still think that we're going to trade 15.5 before we see new highs. Winklevoss twins, if you want to come on and talk about it and have an honest conversation,
dude,
come on out.
Exactly. Matt, let me share, because I want to stay on the subject. And I want to bring up this little thread. And it was from Peter Schiff, probably the most well-known gold perma bull on the planet. And he's talking about something that we talked about yesterday, Citi downgrading. We were talking about MicroStrategy to a sell. He's calling the stock market a casino. And then he was saying that the borrowing of $400 million to gambling on Bitcoin, he was saying, I bet it never even takes place. They never borrow the money and buy the Bitcoin. And then Novogratz, and Mike, please come on a show. I would love to talk with you about price discovery, because he said, how much do you want to bet? All right. As soon as I read that, dude, I wish there was a time between when I read it and like when I responded to it. Right. And my fat finger gets in the way here. It says, I think it's already been booked. Did you unload some bags to them? Right. Like GLSI here, MicroStrategy. You don't even have to go to the market. We got some bags for you. Because he seems pretty confident, right, in the bet. You want to bet? How much you want to bet? Like, I know this is taking place because I sold it. And then I get a little snarky there. Did you ever trade in a floor and a pit? Strong tell this one has. I'm thinking of how Yoda would say, that's a pretty strong tell, Mike. Strong tell this one has. Anyway, tell me I'm wrong, Mike. Tell me I'm wrong that you didn't unload some bags to MicroStrategy. And the other reason why, when I saw that, I remember him being interviewed, and let's go to the chart. I remember him being interviewed right here on CNBC somewhere in the June, this week, June 9th, 24th of 19 to July 8th, somewhere in that time frame. I remember him being on CNBC and them asking, and maybe it was after that, because maybe it was down here, right, by September. And they said, did you sell any on that rally? And he said, yeah, I sold some. I wish I would have sold a whole lot more. Right. Again, not everybody from the institutional space is in there saying that Bitcoin's going to 50,000 or 100,000. The don't bet is available. And the guys like Novogratz, who have a ton of Bitcoin, he's trading it.
Yes.
Right? He's core long. He's core long from zero now.
And every time it bumps, he takes some off, and that's what traders do. That's trading
Tell,
around it.
tell me I'm fucking wrong. That's all. Tell me I'm wrong, Mike, that you didn't unload some bags.
I mean,
the MicroStrategy. And we brought up MicroStrategy yesterday because you had pointed out their history of picking the top in the dot-com bubble.
well, in your tweet there, in your tweet from Novogratz, it mentions the CEO, Michael Saylor, right there. So that's who he is.
Michael Saylor. Come on. Tell me if you bought.
Oh, he did buy. He bought 40,000 at 19,150 average, they said. That's what their SEC filing said. So if we are
Yeah, but who'd he buy him from? That's what I want to know. Because my bet, it's GLSI. That's just me. Maybe we can get a side bet going. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing there, Matt. I know
there was definitely some fees exchanged there for business.
All right. Let's just go to this for a second, because we've talked about how the market, the virus stocks, everything has been threading like we're going to thread the needle perfectly. Everything's priced. Perfection is priced into the model, right? Perfection.
Yep.
And this, two things about this. Obviously, it's just another sign that these vaccines were rushed. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't do a shit ton of work, right? They didn't do a lot, as much as they could to try to make them as safe and as sound as possible. But the fact is that, if you're pregnant or going to be pregnant, they're saying you shouldn't take it. Now, if you have any significant allergies, I know so many people that have significant allergies.
Basically, if you have significant allergies, you shouldn't be taking any vax. That's what it.
But it's from the Daily Mail. Like, you wouldn't see this headline in the U.S. Allergies, significant allergies should not take a jab.
The Brits are great. They legislate this way through their parliament. The way that they argue, and they have a way about them that makes everything fun.
Right, parliamentary procedure, Matt. Yeah. Parliamentary procedure.
By the way, as an anecdotal, I had my annual physical yesterday with my doctor, and she's generally, she's a brilliant person, Stanford Medical School. She's not sold right now, Bobby, on these vaccines. And she's not an anti-vaxxer by any means. Matter of fact, she gave me a flu vaccine yesterday, which I've gotten the last 4 years. But she said, listen, the data still is not out there. It hasn't been peer reviewed, is what she used. And she's like, until it's peer reviewed, none of this stuff matters. Like, she also understands how this works. And she's not ready to put her patients, to have them jabbed, to use the Daily Mail. She's just not ready. So that's as we're getting flooded with get jabbed by the end of December. Well, it's December 9th today, folks. How's this going to happen? It's not. And this comes back to your point. How is distribution going to happen? How is every Walgreens going to be ready to give, the man on the street the injection?
They're going to get Sonos on it. Was it that the company? Who's the gal? Oh man, I hate when my comedic mind doesn't pull all the strings together. Who's the girl that's under?
While you're thinking about that, I got a joke for you. What is an accountant's preferred method of birth control?
Well, I'd say abstain because they never get laid. But go ahead.
Close. Their personality.
That's not true. Everybody needs a good accountant,
Thanks, Warren.
Matt, I wanted to jump back to something here, because I do my homework, Matt, and back to not to the Daily Mail, but this, talking about the election and the legal proceedings. I saw the brief that the Supreme Court issued rejecting the Pennsylvania case. And when you read it, you're like, we said yesterday, these are the brightest minds, in the country going at this. And then I read the brief. I'm like, who are these guys? The brief was, it was late. Like, I know we filed this a couple days late. Will you please listen to it? Like,
cobbled together. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I mean, the Supreme Court must have been like, really? This is what you're bringing? Like, anyway, we had the conversation about what happens when a state sues another state. I used my Google machine, and I came up with the Legal Information Institute. Suits between two or more states, the extension of federal judicial power to controversies between states, and the vesting of original jurisdiction in where? The Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. Of suits to which a state is a party of had its origins and experience. So this is the modus operandi.
Right.
My thought again, is that,
you know, but all the all the leftists are like, it's over now every day. It's like, listen, it was, you know what it is? It's like watching Rachel Maddow since election night. It's over every day. It's over. It's not over. I don't control it. You don't control it. Rachel Maddow definitely doesn't control it, and neither do the tweet heads on, the internet. They don't.
Right, exactly. Now, I will say this, though.
I'm just trying to put the pieces together as a trader.
I agree with you. I will say this, though. That's where the case goes. The court can decline hearing it, right? And it's up to the states to prove that they should hear the case, right? The preponderance of proof has to be on the plaintiff. Anyway, if the Supreme Court says, no, we're not going to hear the Texas case, the fat lady sang. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, back to one last thing. I know that we saw this last week or at the beginning of the week. Here's one thing for sure that has happened. Win, lose, or draw for Trump. He has flipped the apple cart. We've talked about that. And there is a lot of exposure. And Biden can come in, but he can't come in like Hillary could have come in 2016, where everything's in place. Nobody's looking very hard at anything. That's my thought on the whole geopolitics of the USA going forward. Win, lose, or draw. It's a whole different atmosphere that we're in now.
I think whatever, to your point, whoever may win or may lose, it's not going to be over either, right? I think the fights are only going to get stronger and more divisive because of this new paradox that we're living in, and nobody, like you said, it's hard to even figure out what the truth is anymore, let alone, what's false, what's true. It's very confusing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, ambiguity is the ambiguity and irony. All right. And one of our members is pointing out here, UK political parties have financial interest in the newspapers. All right. So,
well, they do here too.
They do here too. Again, where's the true?
Disney owns ABC. Viacom owns CBS, GE. They don't own NBC anymore. I don't know who does. I don't think they do.
And then he's also pointing out the Texas AG Paxton is under indictment for securities fraud. He's angling for a pardon. Anyway, well, my thought on the Texas case though is it's the way I've read it is several states have joined the suit. So what if 30 states join the suit? Does that make it more?
Well, maybe that's.
Here's my only thought.
Yeah,
I want the Supreme Court to bring it to hear the case, because there will then be a very open, strong evidentiary proceeding. Like, if you tell me that one Dominion voting machine actually did deploy an algorithm, that's pretty damning. I mean, Who wants an election? And the thing that kills me the most about this is a lot of people in the crypto space that are left leaning or Democratic leaning are like, there's no way there was any fraud. Like, the whole crypto movement is built upon things not being ambiguous, like taking humans out of it, making the algorithm fair. Everybody knows what the algorithm is. It just blows me away that if one machine actually deployed the algorithm, I don't know, man, that doesn't shine a good light. Again, I took tests my whole life with a number 2 pencil. The machine, I don't think the valedictorian became valedictorian because he had an algorithm or she had an algorithm running in the testing module
that changed the scores.
That changed her grade. Like, no, they were really smart people. You know, they used the number 2 pencil very well in the right circle. Like,
or back in, you know, our day, you know, that guy who, you know, might have paid the kid who wanted to date your sister, you know, to take the SAT for him, but that was about it.
All right, Matt, I know that we were talking inside marketfundamentals.io about the dollar again.
Yeah.
Is there something to key on?
Well, you know, I think this whole rally has been dollar driven, and I think it'll continue to be dollar driven, and nothing's changed to the, you know, again, all the Peter Schiffs of the world, Bob, were, you know, sky is falling. Buy gold. Sky is falling. Well, when they were saying that, gold went all the way down to 1770. We said it'll bounce at 1770. It's back to 1870. So Peter Schiff is not a good trader. He's a holder of gold, just like, you know, but he's not a trader. He never has been. He's selling gold. That's what he does. His business is selling gold. So do you want to buy, you know, so the dollar, as I said, has been peaking up, right? Peaky blinders here. It traded down here to 90, 50. People were, the sky is falling. That was it. And since then, we're back up to 91.20. Second test here today, and we haven't broken out, but this thing's getting kind of squirrely, and you can see a lot of shorts run for cover because it's, again, just look at the commitment of traders. It's heavily shorted, has been forever. It's not new. And I think it's got the potential here to, you know, go for a big run. And I still think you're going to see, you know, I still think macro wise, you're going to see gold back to $1,000 an ounce, and you're going to see the dollar run up to par, if not 120, before it's over, before it has seen its heyday.
Right on. Now, is that the dollar index?
Pardon me? That's just
the dollar index.
This is just the dollar. Yes, it's not versus anything. So
it's got to be versus something.
No, it's not. I understand what you're saying.
All right, we're going to have an expert in on that contract right there. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Let me jump. Hold on a second. Bear with me, Matt.
No problem.
There it is. I want to share this wheat chart because it is, we talked, wrong one.
Hey, Bob, did you watch that Baltimore Dallas game last night? Did you see any of Lamar Jackson running?
Dude, unbelievable.
Did you see
know who he reminded me of? Me. Me.
Oh, the hair. I got it. Yeah. It was the hair.
Lamar Jackson. Unreal. Dude, how about the stutters? He reminds me of a basketball player sometimes. Like he'll give the juke, right? And the guy,
his ankles
and it's
break.
not even fair because it's usually like a defensive tackle. Like, and he's going to get this 330-pound man moving one way, knowing that, you know, I'm going to go this way. Oh, I just need to step back, and the guy's tackling here. He's unreal.
Especially when he has the 310-pound fullback, Ricard, the Frenchman.
Right on.
Who was blocking. Did you see this guy yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh. So my son looks up some stats on him. He's got like 20 tackles. He's also a defensive player. So I'm like, what? He's even got sacks. I mean, he's crazy. And the spread on the game, by the way, it went from 7.5 and it went off at 9.5, which meant the smart money at the end, again, per John.
Middle available.
Well, John was saying, you know, go with the smart money. When lines move like that big in the NFL towards the favorite or towards the underdog, go with the favorite. And sure enough, 9.5 was an easy cover last night again for the Ravens. It really was never in question. The Cowboys continue to be piss poor, and we have to unfortunately be pained by listening to Troy Aikman talk about his beloved boys. It's hard watching Troy Aikman and listen to him. It's hard.
Especially if you hate the Cowboys.
Yeah. The boys.
Yeah, so the wheat, this weekly momentum level, 571. We talked about it, that as it weakened, that's where, for me and my standard deviation analysis, that's where the line in the stand has to be. It's got to, ultra weak, or, back to the market vitals, back to the vital signs, a close below there is not healthy for wheat, but they've pinged off of it fairly well. Here's the nuance in trading, Matt. Is this thing going to respect that? Are we going to retake over the average and then continue this march? Or are we going to fully do a round tripper here, and turn this into more of a slaughter for the longs and go trade on towards that collar on the low end, 528. So for me, and this is the nuance of trading, because the story is forever evolving.
Mm-hmm. Always
evolving.
Yeah. No, I think it's rotating. And again, I think, we'll see if 571 might be able to pick it up down there at that 528 level. You might be able to.
All right, Matt, what else? Quick one.
Well, let's look at Tesla real quick.
Yeah. You know what? I had that queued up. Where is it? There it is. For your viewing pleasure, Volkswagen ID4 electric SUV is here. There's no going back. Reserve yours today. Ford, I can't turn on the television without seeing a Ford commercial about all of their electric vehicle or hybrid pushes into the marketplace. All we're saying here for sure is that competition is going to be stiff, like it always is in the automotive industry.
Yeah, whoever's making the EVs is selling it to every one of the auto manufacturers that they can make batteries longer, faster, stronger. And they, a lot of the GMs used to own pieces of plug. Everybody it's incestuous in that business, always has been, as a Motor City guy, right? So it's not going away. And VW is, along with BMW, along with Mercedes, along with Volvo, they have full plans to be, all of them, it's not new, to be electric by 2025 to 30, somewhere in that range. So that being said, there was also a clip, there was an interview that Elon gave with Wall Street Journal where he finally admitted that he's left California. He's no longer residing in the fine, comfy confines of Silicon Valley. He's like, they're getting a little, and this is what he said. He said, they're getting a little complacent. They're arrogant. And for an arrogant guy to say that the area where he's living is getting arrogant, I mean, what? No, I mean, he has quite a bit of, emotional awareness about himself. And he knows that, I mean, again, he's not a fool. So he's left. Is Grimes and his baby with him? I don't know. Are they in Texas? He didn't say where they are. Are they in Austin? Are they in Houston? Are they in Dallas? Who knows? They're not in El Paso, I assure you. But Tesla, again, what did it do, Bob? It hit basically that area once it broke out of that triangle. We talked about it earlier in the week. 666 was the number we were projecting.
Yeah.
659. Look at that. Boom. Today we're down $32. Is it the California news? I don't know. Is it just because it's gone crazy? I think we're a week away, maybe 10 days from the date where this is included in the S&P. So the buying's got to be close to being done. It's got to be close, but who knows? So little has transacted up in these prices on this move. I mean, again, you go from 440 up here to 660. You got a market cap of 584 billion today, Bob. And you see how quickly it's filling this hole. Listen, we're going to test 600. This is again, we're going to test it. You want to sell some here, sell some on the bounce. It's going to go back probably sometime here. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We will see 600 again on this at least, and it'll bounce from there and then decide, is it going to go higher again or is it going to go lower? Who knows? But
it's an evolving story, Matt. EV.
Yeah, but there's some great trades here to be had, and you can see it when you grind out a little bit and say, wow, yeah, pre-market we were at 659 today, but we've taken out yesterday's lows already, and then Monday's lows are back here, where we gapped up. So we're going to go and fill this hole because this was all gap. The whole thing. I mean, think about this. We ran up Monday, ran up Tuesday to the same price. We gapped this morning, and now we're failing. So that's not a good sign. You know, it's going to come back and at least back, as I said, down to the 600, 595 level.
Yeah, and then, you know, as we talk about, that's where the argument takes place. You know,
Yep.
place your bets, open the windows, open your windows, baby. You know, Mike Novogratz, did you open the window for MicroStrategy and say, come on in, the water's fine?
You know, we talk about names that have potential here, and here's a long idea for some folks out here. Tilray, which is in the marijuana, you know, pharmaceutical space. This thing, you know, if you recall, if you followed it during the hype of when marijuana was, you know, just going crazy back in 2018, this thing traded as high as $300. So this was the EV of the day, right? These marijuana stocks went absolutely bananas. I mean, it went from nothing to 300 and like, what was that, 5-6 months, if that long. Now you're looking at a situation where it's pulled back, and we're going to fractal back out, Bob. It had a run recently, and so I want to point this out. It had a run to 12. We should have probably sell off again. It did, ran again. It's coming back, and I think it's going to hold in here. I think the 750 level is a great level. Even here at 780, right where we're talking today, this is a great trade. I think Tilray is a name that you probably can own with pretty little risk. You know, if you have to buy,
and they're a real company producing real product with the real cash flow.
Yeah, and as the marijuana continues to gain, you know, the success that it's ultimately going to have in more states. I mean, again, you see it. Geez, I mean, Little Oregon had over $1 billion in sales in cannabis this year. It was, I think, early November when they hit that number.
None of it mine, by the way.
None of it yours.
None of it mine. I'm a home grower. I grow great tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
Guy Clark, only
know,
two things money can't buy, Matt. That's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
And then the other thing I've been watching here, Bob, and I want to touch on this also, is that we've been, you know, we've talked interest rates and bonds, but I want to look at let's look at the 10-year rate, because this is, although it's pretty much near zero still, or, you know, under 1%, the 10-year now is bumping up again. And this trend continues to go higher, and nobody's talking about it.
Nobody.
So, nobody's talking, and so when nobody's talking about something and it's underneath, there's a story developing here that's going to play out into the equity markets, and I think people need to, you know, kind of pay attention to this along with the dollar. As the dollar reverses, interest rates should go higher, and we're going to. I've said this from day one. I mean, look at the interest rates. Really, since, you know, this was the low that we saw when the pandemic, you know, hype first started, and then it rallied big back. And it went up here to the 12, you know, to 1.3% level or so. Now we're back down here, about to crest, and this is a bullish looking chart to me, right? Interest rates looking strong, which again, if you want to play that, you got to look at bonds, and you got to sell. You got to be a seller of the 10-year, which is the ZN right now, and that's still, you know, is also looking like, you know, it has been going lower. So these things are lining up the way they should. And if this level breaks here at 137, this thing's got to, you know, we've talked about it before, but there's some big holes below here. This is a weekly chart. So again, going back to 20 years, we could go easily back into balance, which is down here at 126, and we're trading 137. That's kind of been the line in the sand for the last 2 decades, right? And you need to be aware of these numbers, because this is where the heavy hands are, and they, you know, somehow, some way, find a way to get back into those levels, Bob.
Right on, Matt. That's the story. We're sticking to it, right?
That's right. Oh, the other one is the S&P is pretty quiet today. We're actually seeing, you know, a sell-off, but nothing significant. We're not breaching any key levels yet. But I mean, gosh, I mean, the Russell is up 35% since October, right? The RTY, 35%. Again, that shows me that the chase is on. We saw the same thing, by the way, in 99. We saw this exact same. It's mirroring very similar tendencies where the Russell and the NASDAQ kind of were spiking, and the S&P and the Dow were, you know, they were at highs, but they weren't like, they're not parabolic right now, right? They're not chasing the real companies anymore. They're chasing the real, you know, underlings that are, you know, sitting on the floor of the forest right now. That's the stuff that's being chased, and you see it every day. I mean, we talked about it this morning. We were sharing with our members a couple more, a couple more of these stocks, and I'm going to bring them. One was, there's two of these little, every day there's like a handful of these little penny stocks that are just going bananas. Here's another one, this Rocket Pharmaceuticals. I have no idea, again, fundamentally what they do, but this thing was trading yesterday. It's a 3.2 billion market cap. Yesterday it was down here at $32. Today, bam, all the way up here. It hasn't been follow through, but it's also a real choppy, even though it's traded 6 million
Bring it
shares.
up, Matt. Bring it up on the screen.
Oh, I thought I had it. Sorry about that, Bob. So this Rocket, look at this thing. It was a rocket, but unless you owned it, there's no trade here still, and it's not going higher and it's not going lower. So I would just be wary of it. And when you start seeing these names that no idea, again, there's thousands of stocks in the US universe. And then this one, Greenwich Life Sciences. I mean, holy smokes, is this thing going crazy? Look at this thing. Look at this thing, Bobby. This is 1030, so it continues to go. It's at $52. It literally here, but the problem, again, thin float. It's like 1.74 million shares in the float. I do not recommend anybody short this thing. 20% is owned by insiders. So guess who's cashing out again here today? This is market mechanics that people need to understand. Not all stocks are created equally. Don't trade stocks like this, especially from the short side, if you don't understand what I just said. If you don't understand that, please don't trade it.
A lot of risk, Matt. A lot of risk.
Tons of
Hard
risk.
to define it too. That's the problem.
Yeah. Both ways, by the way. I wouldn't get long it either. I'm not telling you to get long it, but definitely.
Right. I hate trading something where I can't think about the risk side of it, the don't side of it.
Yeah. I mean, you need to trade things that are two ways, Bob. That's
right
the
on.
real simple thing. You need to trade things that, allow you maneuverability, liquidity, and, as much transparency and fairness as you can within the game, right? There's always, there are mechanics that are stacked against short sellers. Always, you have to get an uptick in stocks. And that's why professionals prefer futures, Bob, because you don't need an uptick. You don't need to get a borrow. And I don't have to pay the taxes legally that I have to pay when I trade options and stocks. So that's why futures are a great option for traders.
Right on, Matt. All right, Matt. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day, Bobby.
We'll be back at it tomorrow.
Okay. Peace,
See ya.
man.